Well, thanks for joining us. You're watching Focus on Africa. I'm Wahiga Mwaura. Cameroonian authorities have denied abandoning victims of the deadly landslides in the capital, Yaoundé, which left 31 people dead and many more displaced. Now, Sunday's landslide saw several homes in Mbankolo, a poor neighborhood in the north of the city, reduced to rubble after heavy rains. The local administrator in charge of coordinating emergency assistance said that people complaining of not having a place to stay had chosen not to go to the temporary accommodation provided for by the government. But some victims have said that they still have not received any aid. BBC reporter Paul G tells us more.
Rubble, stone and shells of homes is what remains. These were once homes in the impoverished neighbourhood of Mbankolo in Cameroon's capital, Yaoundé. Sebastien Maido watches on as his house is being demolished. The government marked this area as unsafe for habitation after a landslide that killed over 30 people.
I don't know where to go. If God can help me, I'm begging for help from left and right so I can find a room to rest for some time before bouncing back.
Cameroonian authorities have been demolishing after Sunday's deadly landslide that also left over 17 others injured. For so many years, residents in this neighborhood called this place home. But as you can see, nothing is left for them to recognize. The demolition of homes here now leaves many people wondering for what's next for them. Residents say they were not given enough time to recover what was left following the disaster. They say they feel the pain of not only losing their loved ones, but also their belongings.
I had some materials in front of the house, well preserved, and I had at least 1,500 blocks molded and kept there. I pleaded that they should avoid destroying so I could recover them and take them elsewhere, but a bulldozer razed everything, everywhere.
My plan is now that if there is a way that I could fix my ID card, I could go back to the village, because I don't know even what if I remain here now I will be doing, because even my working materials, rain I've carried, I don't have even working material, not to talk about clothes to go with it to the workplace.
The government is now giving emergency assistance to the 67 families affected by the tragedy. But some are complaining about being discriminated against. The BBC put these claims to the local administrator in charge of distributing relief materials to the victims. He claims that there are individuals trying to take advantage of the process.
Everyone who is registered receives aid after in-depth verification, and this verification is done following the confirmation of the quarterhead, notables and the population.
Even as aid is being offered, people here feel the loss of lives is one tragedy too many. They feel the government should do more to avoid such incidents. Paul Njie, BBC News, Yaoundé.
Well, we can now get the latest details from Paul Njie, who joins us from the Cameroonian capital of Yaoundé. Paul, thanks for keeping us updated on this. Any new developments for us?
Well, Wahiga, the Cameroonian government has resolved to intensify its fight against people building in areas considered as risk zones, because over the years we've had cases of deaths in these areas that are deemed not fit for habitation. So the Prime Minister, head of government, met with other ministers of the country, including the Interior Minister and the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, to decipher what could be done and how to address the victims. But they are saying that henceforth there will be punishment, severe penalties for those who are caught building in areas where people's lives could be at risk. So that's the latest developments from here.
Paul, what else can you tell us about the efforts by government to support those who've been displaced by these landslides? What else is being done?
Well, so far, authorities have been giving psychosocial support to the victims, for those who are traumatized, to help them come back to themselves, those who have lost their loved ones, children, and other family members. It's indeed been a tough time, but also they are providing humanitarian assistance to these victims. But one thing has also struck many people here. It's the fact that people complained of being sidelined in the distribution process. But we did speak to a local administrator in charge of the aid. He says that that there are people who have been registered, others are trying to take advantage, and that everybody who has been registered will receive aid. But also it's been a remarkable moment, a show of solidarity, because we've seen people, no matter how poor they were, welcoming some victims into their homes, even though the government said it had attributed a temporary accommodation for the victims. We've still seen people, taking other people and helping them out. So it speaks to the generosity that is ongoing. It speaks to the reaction towards this tragedy which struck Mbankolo on Sunday.
I mean, that's reassuring to hear in the midst of everything that's happening, Paul. But also, we know that this isn't the first of such incidents to occur in Cameroon. Tell us more about the recurrence, the pattern of landslides generally there. What more can you tell us?
That's right, Wahiga. As a matter of fact, Cameroon has witnessed a series of landslides in recent times. In 2019, there was another incident in the West region in Guashe, where over 40 people died. And after the incident, it spoke to, some people said, the ignorance and the negligence of authorities who continue to allow people to construct in risk zones, but keep saying each and every year that people should vacate this area. So some say that the regulation is not very powerful. And I should also add that the National Observatory on Climate Change had warned about the likelihood of a landslide in the capital, Yaoundé, before the incident happened. And they have sent an alert that there are certain regions, including the center region where Yaoundé is based, where there will be a likelihood of another landslide. And of course, there will be heavy rains coming up. So it's really a dire situation here.
Well, Paul G, thanks so much for keeping us updated on that. And we'll give you more updates to our audience when and as we get them. But now, let's cross over to Nigeria, where